We saw Maru play 2-on-1 every single game against Cyril, and we'll see how Rogue defends against it. I know you can also play Roach against it, but the normal defense is just Queen Ling. And in that case, already, if Rogue goes for that, there is no possibility of any sort of 1-1 Roach timing. So no matter how hard Rogue tries with that opening that Maru went for, I don't think Rogue can make the game too quick, because it's a very safe opener from the turn.
And there they go, flying out across the map, heading to the right-hand side, and just going to be flying through the watchtower. So Rogue is even going to see where they are coming from. Of course, we mentioned this earlier. It is a situation where these first two medevacs aren't necessarily looking to do too much. It's the additional medevac that is really going to make the difference. And Rogue, I love this, just pulling his overlords back, making sure there are no free pickings available for this group of Marines and medevacs.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure Rogue watched that series as well, while Maru was still playing against Hiromi. I'm sure in his mind, Maru also was the favorite to win that, so he's for sure is very prepared. He even started one score. I wouldn't be surprised to see that in the main base as well, to just make sure that that double drop doesn't just get in there. And Rogue is actually still making units, so he is preparing as hard as possible for that triple medevac.
Again, drop two medevacs into the main base, something Rogue is not ready for. Unit's going to have to move back to deal with this, but it does just take a little while to unload. And if you stim again here, well, you'll get a queen. Hides in the corner. It's going to continue to drain that medevac energy, but so far it's okay. We lift up, we move out down the right side, but there's Queen sat and wait, and they're going to jump on the first medevac. Full medevac kill. Massive pick off for Rogue.
Oh my god, Maru was not watching there, because who expects his opponent to just walk off creep entirely with all the queens, and he just gets a full medevac, which is huge. It obviously weakens that first aggression of Maru by so much, and that's already a really good start for the Zerg.
Really fantastic way to get going as now we continue the pressure. The Widowmine doesn't do much though, and Rogue has damage already coming out on these medevacs, so they really can't stick around for all that long. Man, this is looking really, really good for Rogue. I mean, this just shuts Maru down hard, and I mean, it's really tough. If you don't get that kind of damage done early, this is not the sort of build that leads you on into, the next stage of the game super easily. Yeah, that creep is actually weak in that top side, and that is definitely where Maru can focus some attacks in the near future. So eyes on that part of the map. 2-2 starts up for Maru as well. In general, going to keep the upgrade lead in this game, as he will start a split push as well, right? Sending some of those medevacs now around to the bottom right side, just starting to go in multiple directions, and we know the power of that.
Absolutely. Rogue now chasing away some of these medevacs. One of them is low HP. I wouldn't mind seeing that go back home and being repaired. The thing is, Maru did not see these mutas yet. This is the first time he's going to see them. Both tanks are completely exposed. Just a couple of Marines. That's not enough Marines to kill these mutas. And that's another huge moment in the game for Rogue, where he gets a lot of damage done while defending at home.
Massive stuff from Rogue, just dealing so much damage, unable Maru to find any damage on the other side of the map. Muta's now on top of a mineral line, completely undefended. It just feels like Rogue has got Maru's numbers so far in this first game. 13 SCVs down, medevacs are still falling all over the shop. And well, Rogue is just having a field day at the moment. Nothing is going right for Maru in game one.
Yeah, it's crazy how convincing Rogue sometimes looks in these games. These are not the earliest mutas, but Maru didn't expect them. He said, okay, you have so many units, can you really also have mutas? Yes, Rogue can. He macroed fantastically, and he even feels his momentum right now. He did not start 2-2, instead he's just trying to attack. No cancel on the fort base, and Maru is forced to tap out. SCV. The one thing that's really cool now is that Rogue does not know what's going on. This could just be a 2-1-1 variation where he didn't open with a Reaper. It could also be a 3-Rex, where you really need to start making units very early on. Or it's gonna be that opener that Maru has played a lot in the past, where he just makes a bunch of Marines at first, then starts producing Hellions and one medevac. You can micro around a lot with the medevac into the main base. As long as the Hellions get past the Queens, it can be very good. Of course, as we know, Maru is actually just dropping the Marines, which as long as they're unload, they should also be trading pretty well against the Slowlings.
There we go, Marine's going to start fighting these Slowlings. There's healing, of course, and the Slowlings do not do well at all, so Maru can continue forward. Didn't even bother to finish the Overlord, which would have put Rogue into a pretty hefty supply block, really. He's going to keep on going through, though, and he's just going to get rid of Lings. He's going to get rid of this Queen, and the rest of the Lings showing up. Well, there's Hellions in the third as well, so Maru's having a wild time. The drones get around, time for Maru to lift and go elsewhere, which he will do. In fact, just dropping behind the mineral line, that works too, to keep this pressure up, and Maru doing ridiculous early game damage on Blackburn.
Yeah, not quite paying attention to Hellions though, so you lost 2 of them. Make sure to keep focus fire down that Queen before the medevac dies. And this is such an uncomfortable situation already for Rogue, who was really greedy, and his greed just instantly got punished by Maru there.
Yep, absolutely. Is just going to see our last few Marines will go down now. That medevac is going to escape away. It seems a Liberator siege on the natural. Hellions still poking on the third base as well. Drones, 2 of them going down. But there is at least the Queens there to clean that Liberator up, and that will be the end of that for the moment. Absolutely, as we do see our third orbital is going to take position. The 2 Hellions are still around. They're actually going to get some drones in the main, make that 2. And they will go for some more, and he misses the pickup on 1. He just saves it at the very end. And that is going to be a continued drop into the natural, but obviously with 1 Hellion so low, it's going to be tough to really stick around for any serious amount of time. As we continue up, the 1-1 Roach upgrade's halfway done, but Maru's going to start dropping now to make Rogue's life even more difficult. Love the position, the hurt Hellion at the back. Somehow they're both still alive.
I can't believe how much value he's gaining from those 2 Hellions. That also means obviously the Zerglings are out of position, so he's going to get a free Overlord here. The one big thing would be spotting the Roaches, and he sees them now as well with the Hellion drop. And those Hellions are worth their weight in gold.
Yeah, they are absolutely delivering, just being so annoying. So much creep being cleared out here from Maru as well. Who's got tanks, he's got Marines, and all that production continuing, although a little supply blocked right now once he comes out of this. A new tank's already started. He'll get 1 more Overlord, and of course seeing the Roaches, knowing exactly what's kind of going on right here. A few Marines going to get behind that gold base and then just hop around, and that's one of the very annoying things, just going behind the gold, jumping over to the other side. It's really tough for Zerg to stop that happening.
Absolutely. Rogue actually realizing he's probably not in the best of position, so instead of just committing to that timing, he's going for the Infestation Pit and the Hydra. Then in Europe we call this style the Cave Bob. Dark popularized it. There's a nice better TTV emote for it, that's why we call it that way, in case you wanna search how that looks. Either way, it's a pretty cool style, and Rogue's actually ahead in upgrades even, which makes this a lot better. The problem is he has to fight outside of his base, and he's not ready yet. He didn't have Ravagers morphed, and you need those Ravagers to kill the tanks.
Yep, if you're not going to be able to kill the tanks, going to be in some trouble. Now those tanks are coming around, and they are going to get themselves sieged right behind this gold. And clearing out this gold is going to be really, really tough now for Rogue, getting this back on his side. He is going to try and come around the center. He's going to catch some units reinforcing, so that's a nice start. And try and just fight out of range of the 2 siege tanks. Now he's going to go for it. He's got Crows of Bar the Land to help out, but man, he's losing a lot of health on his Roaches.
Yeah, he did a good job there trying to prevent the tanks from firing on his Roaches, trying to tank some hits with the Queens, but Maru actually was very good at target firing the moment the Roaches on the right-hand side came into the picture. And now once again he sieged a little bit further away, and the tank is getting real value done here.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff as Maru's reinforcements come in from the right-hand side, continue to clear out some Roach Ravager. Another tank is sieging, and this one I don't think Rogue's going to get on top of at all. And the splash it puts on those Roaches really, really hurts. It goes such a long way, and Rogue is just continuing to fight into a Terran player who's just not losing units now. GG.
It is the most simple logic. As long as it works, you just keep on doing it. We'll see if he actually follows through with it. I'm not sure. I think this map is actually just very good for it. So it makes a lot of sense that he does it again. And this build also is very different from the 2-1-1 because it actually has a lot of different follow-ups very early on. So you can go like Banshee afterwards, you can go for Hellbats, you can go for Liberators. You can walk across the map with the Marines to fake, I guess, the build that Clem was doing before, which also starts Reactor first, of course. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do. He's actually going to get a free Overlord here, so he's going to get rewarded. Yep. Because obviously, even if Rogue went hatch gas pool, speed would still not be done, even if he went for speed right away, which he didn't, on top of that. Yeah, for sure. As he's actually following up with the Banshee this time, so it's going to be an entirely different follow-up. Once again, the Marines are headed towards the main base, but they find a free Overlord, so might as well take that. And now he's actually testing Rogue. The Queens are slightly out of position, only 2 here. And Maru commits in fully with the Hellions. Let's see how much he can get. It's 4 drones so far. A lot of the Zerglings also dying in the process. There's not many Zerglings left.
Well, this round, I mean, that's going to save the day almost for a little bit. Obviously costs you a few more drones, but maybe saving you from what was originally happening. I mean, obviously letting the Hellions get that far forward without having taken any damage from Queens is pretty bad. These Marines are still dropping around though and still doing pretty well. We drop up into this main base as Slings and Queens come on through. The Marines do lift up. We do escape out through the top. This is looking really good as these 2 Banshees are going to fly past an Overlord though. 1 Overlord left on the map, and it's going to get the money scout. He cloaks, but it's too late. Rogue's seen it start the spores.
Yeah, I was about to say I wouldn't mind if he just cloaks on his side of the map already, because as long as he gets across, there is no spores there. He's going to get some free damage, but the spores build very fast, so as long as you see the unit leave, spores are going to be in time. So that's really, really good for Rogue. What also really was bad for Maru is that he couldn't build the CC on the inside of his wall. So he actually had to return with all of the Marines. Otherwise, the Zerglings would have just killed the CC, right? So there's no second prong to all of this, simply because of a building, I guess, mistake or walling mistake from Maru that I'm pretty sure he doesn't actually play this map very often because every Zerg just vetoes it. So it's absolutely understandable.
Well, Banshees is going to get to work. Creep teamers continue to be cleaned out. We're going to move to the middle where, to be honest, just clearing out this creep is always a nice little something, and the Banshees will get a fair amount of it, trying to get some final tumors at the end. Doesn't get too much, to be fair. The creep will continue forward fairly comfortably for Rogue, as melee upgrades will trail the bio upgrades, and Maru's already starting to bring some of these bio units out, and he has got a bit of a supply lead, and especially in the army. Nice counterattack, though, as Maru doesn't have much at home right now.
Yeah, this is pretty important for Rogue to actually do stuff with it. There's actually one exposed tank. I'm not sure he can get that, but at least he's gonna find some Marines and a couple of SCVs, and he actually already went up to 80 drones. So if he survives this first aggression well, then he's in a good position, but he has no units at home.
If he survives it, you say, as he pulls the drones in, 80 drones, goodbye. How about 54s? Maru's on top of everything, Queens.
Yeah, factory and second gas, so he's actually not even opting to go for some very early 3cc. Instead, it's going to be some form of 2cc. I know he actually played mech against Rainer in that great finals that they had in the season finals. It was a great last map as well, so I wouldn't put it past him to go for mech once again on this map. In that case, obviously, he would need to go for something like a battle cruiser opener. Viking usually is the best you can have against Overlord Speed because Rogue does not actually know what follow-up it is, so he had to instantly throw on a Bending Nest because Vikings have very, very strong Hellbat timing follow-ups. Viking into Hellbat Marauder comes to mind, also Viking into Medevac where you drop 4 Hellions, morph them into Hellbats. So not only did Rogue open very safe with the pool first, he opened Gas Pool and then he also went Overlord Speed. And on top of that, his Overlord died and he still has to play safe. So I would say this feels slightly nicer for Maru, but it's already gearing up for just a standard macro game from both sides, which is exactly what I want to see.
Yeah, it would be nice to see one was just like kind of regular from the start, no twists, no turns, just gonna kind of, you know, get what we signed up for almost, as our Hellions settle down the right-hand side with the Liberator coming around the bottom, looking to try and make something happen here. And we'll see if Maru can get any damage done with this bit of multi-prong. Spore is in a great place though. It's not done just yet, as it's a nice place for the lid, but obviously Queen from the main can fight that back rather easily.
Once again, testing Rogue's multitasking, trying to run in at the same time. This time Rogue is ready, he has way more links than he did last time. Maru doesn't run in there though, but good pre-split with the drones, man. I think this is a great defense from Rogue so far, and it looks like he's actually going to catch every single last Hellion that Maru has on the map.
That is a lot of Hellions going down. A Viking lands in the main to try and do just a little bit more damage at the very end here. You do see 7 drones going down, but that's all of your map control. As all of those Hellions die, that is generally never worth allowing to happen.
Yeah, 8 Hellions going down, 1 Liberator, 1 Reaper as we see here for 7 drones and 10 Zerglings. That is a more effective trade for Maru. Obviously losing drones early on matters a little bit more, but 7 drones, I don't think that's quite worth it. I thought the one move was really cool because the only thing that can hit the Liberator, if you see it there, is the Queen from the main, to then go in with the Viking to hit the undefended base, while also the Zerglings are, you know, busy trying to defend the Hellions. That was really cute from Maru, but now the issue is Maru doesn't know if he can live with those 2 medevacs. That's why he's not loading them up right away, because if he does, he has no units at home. So once you lose your Hellions, that's the scary part about it.
Yep, you're just blind. You do not have information on the map. You do not know what's going on, and that is the price to pay for having tried to dive on in there a little bit earlier. So now Maru is going to move on to the map again. Obviously, Rogue's work account isn't brilliant. His upgrades are really far behind as he's up to mutas. These mutas are going to strike without Maru really being prepared with turrets. At least the first few Marines stim in. We'll try and minimize the damage taken here as we stim down to the bottom side, trying to get rid of this base as well. Baneling's not ready yet, but Maru's going to take a step away. He's got a Widowmine drop set up at the same time. Rogue knows it. He's running from it. And we are going to see Widowmine just going off on lava. This Widowmine will get Slings and a Baneling, and there's one more to go behind this mineral line, and it didn't burrow just yet. We'll lift up and move for a different position. Now it's going to go into the same position, and the Banelings get rid of it.
Yeah, I think Maru needs to watch out to not lose all of his Marines here, because the moment these Widowmines actually are cleared up, Rogue does have enough Link Bane to obviously join up with the Mutas and try to hit these medevacs. Maru realizes as well this is why these Marines are walking back, just to make sure they don't die. Because of this early Spire, Maru obviously has the upgrade advantage. but the map control advantage for now goes towards Rogue.
Yeah, but these mutas have to put in some value. They have to create that map control lead, because if you don't, then, like you say, you've got that upgrade lead as Maru, and if you've got the upgrade lead, well, that's a big thing. Rogue's advantages are those mutalisks, and that's what we are seeing right now as they dive toward the main base, looking to try and do some damage there. Not quite finding too much, though.
One thing that also is much better on this map than on 2000 is that Maru actually started off straight with Widow Mines, did not go into these tanks, so he's already set up a lot better. And now, just now, Rogue actually added all these extra drones, so he does have the space, obviously, to go to this 88 drone count, which is great and all, but he didn't outmine him as much as he did in the other game either, so even though right now the supply is looking really good for Rogue, it's especially the upgrades and the value of the units that those Terran units will generate over time that are going to bring Maru back into this game, I feel like.
Yup, as he dives in for a turret here, and a couple of Marauders will not shoot up. The Thor is on the way, though, to try and save the day, and these mutas will be pushed into the corner. Obviously, they're going to plan to escape via the natural, and that's obviously just the continued kind of route of damage here as another missile turret. In fact, all these missile turrets from earlier come back in, but they were low, and Rogue's actually just going to get rid of them for now.
I mean, Rogue is finding some great value from these mutas, and obviously he's starting to get a bank himself, because he's already maxed, and his army, all he's investing into extra now is more Banelings. So especially his mineral bank is huge, his remax potential is huge. Although he is active consistently, his creep spread also is starting to get into towards the middle of the map, which is going to make the pushes a lot harder for Maru later on. Maru now finally starting to move out towards the bottom of the map, realizes Rogue is almost at the top with all of his units, but as I said before, Maru just splits his army in two, so he should have enough here to defend.
Yep, in we go with this Ling Bane force. The mutas then chase this down as well. Marine Marauder is splitting. A lot of the Banelings keep on rolling, and they do find a few more Marines. It's the counterattack on this bottom side that Rogue has nothing in position for, and Maru is holding over here as well, and that's what's very important. A few Banes do roll in, and now Ling's on the follow-up as well, but the base already went down. Good win for Maru. I mean, costing 9 SCVs, of course. What's the overall standing here, Lambo, after looking at this? Okay, not as pretty for Rogue now, that a few more Lings just gave themselves up.
Yeah, I think it looks so nice if you look at the bank and at the supply, but then you realize, okay, Rogue still had to start through 3, which he did now, but he is still maxed out. He doesn't have any Banelings left over, so his army isn't as good. Overall, I think that was fine for Rogue, just getting somewhat even trades, even if you have to give up a base. We can see the resource loss here, it's almost even actually, really favors Rogue. Because that means that even though he's behind upgrades, trading evenly obviously favors him, and he's outmining Maru. If you look at the income graph over the last couple of minutes, I do expect that Rogue, yeah, exactly, mined quite a bit more than Maru for a good solid 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's obviously a big deal as we see Widow Mines are actually going to get major shots to try and save the Thor. The Thor does go down, but my goodness, it is, I mean, wow, that's such a kind of crazy as these Lings continue in. SCVs are going down. Bio Army continues down the bottom side. And it's just Banelings in action everywhere, in fact, as Maru is maybe in some trouble this time. His third base mineral line taking some damage. SCVs are starting to drop as the mutas escape from the left side of the main base.
There's actually action happening everywhere. Maru having problems just defending the couple of Zerglings at the top. Rogue initially went down there with only Banelings, which obviously can't trade efficiently. Now kills an eBay, but 3-3 is already done. Maybe you can deny the plating armor of the buildings, which is very nice, especially against this Ling Bane Muta style. And even the high-sec auto-tracking are nice upgrades, but it's not as impactful as if he killed those eBays earlier. He's still just a couple of Zerglings counter-attacking at the top all the time. I wish Maru would remake a sensor tower. The Banelings into the planetary, just blowing up some SCVs, and Maru is having real problems just getting a hold of his own bases at this point.
Yeah, he's having trouble getting a hold of his own bases. He does have a large standing army, but he needs to keep it alive because obviously rebuilding is going to be tougher and tougher as his bases are just not sticking around. Rogue doing a great job of denying those, and Ultra showing up, not doing much. A new round of Banelings is going to help to clear this out, and it's only Medivacs left on the offense. Maru is going to have to go back to his army that's back at home, that's trying to trap these Mutalisks in. And he does have them kind of stuck in the corner there. They've got to make a dive out at some point, but it's going to be costly.
Yeah, he's gonna have Thors on both sides. Rogue knows that he eventually needs to leave. There's a medevac that he's trying to get more shots in onto the mutas, but I think the Thor would need 2 shots. Oh, here goes one muta dies, I think. But a lot of them are low HP. At the same time, Rogue is trying to once again split his army. There's a counterattack going towards the top. The same 2 Widow Mines that helped the Thor out earlier are scouting for that Ling run by and get a couple of Zerglings. Good trade over with the Lings against just a couple of Marines.
And Maru moves his units up there, pushes those lings back. A few more SCVs have fallen. Once again, Maru's got that little bit of an army supply edge. It's just getting that army to be able to be all in one place, all at once, to try and actually be that, very useful and to really take advantage of it. The Mutas clean up those Widow Mines, and there's going to be even more lings firing away into that third in just a moment, but Maru already has units nearby, and now he is going to string an attack down to the bottom. That's a lot of Marauders.
That is a lot of Marauders, and Maru right now has a pretty big army supply advantage, and with how Marauder heavy he is, it's going to be very difficult for Rogue to trade unless he brings the Mutas to that fight as well. These Banelings rolling in are super cost ineffective. Now he's trying to go for the big fight. The Mutas are coming from the top. There is a big flank of the Mutalist. The Lings are trying to set off the mines and doing a pretty good job. This is a crazy fight.
I don't even know. There's so many Marauders, and Ultras will go down. The Banelings did nothing. Here come the Marines to maybe save the day against the Mutas. So the Mutas have to back away from this. Rogue is rebuilding 74 Lings and 4 Ultras. But how much damage will be done before these units show up? I mean, at the very least, it looks as though we're going to lose these 2 bases. Then maybe Maru has to back off. I suppose Rogue does have the right side and upper right side of the map, meaning that he is okay on base count. He's still on 94 drones, just bumping that economy.
Yeah, I think Rogue gets really fortunate, actually, that Maru barely had any Marines in that fight, because the Mutas, they did so much there. Even though there were a couple of Thors, the rest of the army was basically Marauder only. The Mutas now trying to catch the medevacs that are trying to retreat, but Maru obviously realizing it, chasing down the Mutas, making sure that most of his medevacs return towards his army, and there's no Banelings in the army. I don't think Rogue can take a fight here.
Nope, has to back away for the moment. Fantastic game. Armies just moving around, catching each other, reinforcing from different directions. It's impossible to think how these guys are even keeping track of what units are where. Obviously, we're finally at the point where there's only really one big fight on the map, and that is this major army of Maru, which is starting to back away. He's kind of content just denying these bottom bases, but is that enough? Can he let the top side bases just mine?
I think it is fine as long as he starts moving towards the top with his entire army, because his entire army is just so much more cost effective. And I think what really helped Maru there is that he realized, okay, Rogue, you're not having any counterattacks, that's why you're trying to engage yourself right now. So that's where Maru finally was able to bring all of his army together, and if Maru's army is fighting all in one spot against Rogue's army all in one spot, it's always going to be a good trade for a Terran.
Yep, these Lings going to run through. Marauders and Marines chased away. As we do have, Maru has made his way to the top side. There's a lot of Bane Ultra down on this bottom side as well, though, so that's got to be respected too, perhaps. It's going to hit one of Maru's bases as Maru hits the top right, and we're back to just fighting freaking everywhere. The planetary forces will try to make a hold. The SCVs don't dare try to repair it. As the Banelings are being shot down, the planetary probably could have been saved with the SCVs. As we do see the Ultras paying the ultimate price. They will go down, and we have got a continued push around the right side. Maru's denied the top right base, and he's now moving down in towards this base where he's going to catch this Ultra too. Rogue just can't win a fight at the moment.
Yeah, the question is, how much damage does Maru really need to do on the other side of the maps so that he actually slows down Rogue's economy, because Rogue always can rebuild. We can see Maru already traded 10,000 resources better than his opponent, which is very, very big. And the big thing is that he also kept remaking CCs on his own side, so even though that planetary fell down, he's already re-expanding to the top, and he's retaking that left side base. So I have to say, I like it more and more for Maru, who's now also shutting down that bottom side.
Yeah, fantastic that he keeps shutting down bases. Banelings are going to try and make a play once again, but Marauders are splitting. Marauders will keep going. There's Widow Mines here that are catching drones as well. And here come the reinforcements of Maru streaming in, but there's a lot of Lings and there's no healing on this bio army. He gets rid of the Ultra. He'll turn to fight the Lings, but they will still do a lot because the medevac's out of energy. We still one more time. He has no respect for his Marines. He will just let them limp home. Red in health bars, but they do survive the fight, and they cleaned up so much there. Maru down 35 supply, both players not really much of a bank, and Rogue trying to re-establish those bases he's been losing.
Yeah, it's crazy. After 4 minutes of constant fighting, all of a sudden both players are completely broke. They both don't have money anymore. Rogue has no bases to mine from, even though he still has 60 workers. He's now trying to retake all the bases. Maru did give up on taking that top base, so he's now gonna try to slow down the game a little bit, try to max out again, make sure he gets that base up, since he knows, okay, I just killed all of your bases, I should have some time now. Let's sit back, let's make sure I max out again, and at that point, as long as I keep trading the way I've been trading so far, it should be good for me.
Yep, as you do see Maru just gonna split some units top, some units bottom. He's trying to get rid of those bases once again. Just the top right and the 6 o'clock. He gets rid of the 6 o'clock already. That's an insta-cancel. Even going to get a bit of creep spread, pushing away the control that Rogue has in that location, making it easier to come back to later. Maru, obviously here, he can't really take a big fight. That's the one big thing, right? As Widow Mines are going to catch all those transferring drones. 12 workers going down. Rogue's economy is not what it used to be. There's no longer 90+ workers in this.
Yeah, we can see the triple arrow in the bottom, which means that Maru is way out mining Rogue. At this point, he has 55 drones, but all of those drones for a little while have just been long distance mining. If we check the income graph for a second here, it should have been a huge shift in Maru's favor. Yeah, there he goes. And at any point, he can also drop some extra mules. And I mean, there's also another problem, which is that there is no creep here. So whenever Rogue actually tries to defend his base, he needs to go off creep. Now he thinks it's his time. While the Widow Mines are sieged, Maru is just running for now, because this does not seem like a fight that he wants to take. So he's just running. Rogue's making sure that Maru cannot take this base, which is huge.
Yep, denying that topside base. Another Widow Mine is still trying to do the job. There's more Widow Mines here. Can they get off in good ways? They do okay. The Ultra's getting hurt. I mean, I think the problem Maru has against these Ultras is there's just so many of them. It's difficult to justify trying to stand and fight that many. You can't just target fire one down then the next, right? And that becomes very, very tough as our bio army will come around the top. And okay, looks as though he's just going to clean up what was left there. Now back up. Rogue denying that topside base is massive. Maru, 22 minutes in this game, is really running out of mining on the base that he currently has established.
Yeah, the thing is, he can at any moment just lift a new base and go towards the bottom left. And, I mean, there's no way that Rogue's ever going to take his side of the map, so I think as Maru, you don't actually need to do a whole lot this game. Because Rogue is just mining off of 50 workers, you're theoretically mining faster. You just need to make sure that the mutas don't gain value over time. But if you play the way that he's been playing so far, where he's just has his split army off creep, he should be good to go. And I don't think we even need to see another push here, because Rogue's army supply right now is massive as well. But that doesn't help him if the game just goes longer and longer.
No, it does not. A few Banes going to get cancelled up there. Widow Mine still being annoying here, there, and everywhere. Mutas will hang around the bottom side, and we've got another push of Maru coming down to the south. We are remaxed, and even some Liberators being brought into play here as well, just improving this army from what it was. It has been non-stop action.
Yeah, I really like, though, that Maru realizes it's time to slow down. He keeps scanning the bottom bases, and he realizes Rogue's not expanding, so I don't need to take a fight. I should actually be making more of a bank than you are. So yeah, the decision making of Maru throughout this game, where he exactly knows when it's time to, you know, put some gas in to try and bring the herd towards Rogue, and when it's also time to slow down a little bit. I really like the decision making of him this game, and Rogue is actually the one that needs to attack. He's starting to move forward, but this is a very bending heavy army, completely off creep. Thor's in the front, great split in the back from Maru, and I'm not sure you can keep going here as Rogue.
He is just going to try and keep going, though. There's a few Marauders on the low ground that are holding up so many units, allowing the first few Ultras that were up that ramp to go down. But now Rogue does show his true strength, and he's still got so many Bane lanes rolling into that base up there, trying to kill some more units. The Planetary survives, but all of the SCVs of Maru are going down. He doesn't have a bank, he doesn't have workers, he doesn't have bases anymore, as Rogue is going to get on top of these orbitals. And it looks like Rogue is tying up this series on Ramanda's side. He'll lose one more Ultra, but the mutas are still in play, killing off this, that, and everything. And Maru is down 100 supply here in game number 4.
I don't even know how you make that decision to walk up that ramp, but it worked out perfectly for Rogue. His army, to be fair, was almost pure Baneling Ultra, and then the mutas just went in after the initial Marines and the Thors and the Widow Mines all were cleaned up. And that was just a beautiful fight from Rogue. I mean, that was a crazy good engagement. At this point, Maru's not mining anymore. Maru has to attack. Rogue still has somewhat of a bank, and his army is just too big. GG is called, and Rogue ties it up. Maybe he goes for the factory right after, because the cyclone timing is actually what is most important. The way you defend this is with a double bunker on the high ground, and you try to get out cyclones. 2 bunkers, so it makes it harder for the Ravagers to just go up the ramp and try to corrosive bile. But I haven't seen this in so long, to be honest. I wonder if Maru still remembers the exact response he needs.
Yep, no hatchery. He's going to check the other side, as he does have that reactor started. And let's see if he can indeed find his respawns. Obviously, defending low ground is not the way you want to go about this. You want to defend high ground, and CC, I mean, he sees the roach, he sees the Ravagers, so he's going to know exactly what's coming. He can make his decision right now, and that is to cancel the command center. He's got full information. He starts 1 bunker, and he cancels the reactor, and he will start the 2nd bunker too, though.
That's the exact response that I was talking about. I do think canceling the reactor is also good, getting a couple extra Marines out early. I think he should lift the factory towards the left side, exactly, and make the tech there. I wouldn't even have minded lifting it a little bit further, but maybe he prefers the extra building time. The thing is that this is going to be in range of the Ravager corrosive bites, obviously. So Rogue actually got a little bit fortunate with the spawning position there, because if Maru spawned top right, it would have been a little bit different. Can he finish that bunker at the top? He actually cannot. So he's forced to make a bunker a little bit further away. And this bunker, I'm not sure it actually covers. I mean, it will cover the ramp for a little bit, but I feel like Rogue can just walk up there now.
Yep, and into the base we go. Gets another SCV, and this is a problem because now you're going to start losing this tech lab. That means you're only ever going to have one Cyclone available to you. And that means you're just not really going to have anything you actually need. I mean, these Ravagers can pile this factory down. I mean, obviously you can work your way through the future bunkers as well, and I think that would be the better setup. I mean, there is just, yeah, you can run another Ravager in here. The SCVs want to try and trap it. Will not happen. I mean, at least the Cyclone gets out. That's something, but these Ravagers can start a fight here, and they are going to have a decent time. Doesn't even kill the first Ravager with that Cyclone lock on. It still survives 2 on low HP.
I think Maru should go right now, trying to surround the Ravagers in top left-hand side of his own base, with the 4 Marines as well. I think he really should go right now, before he loses more units, since his factory is not going to produce too many more extra units. He actually is trying to get in some more extra damage beforehand. I think he's gearing up for that exact move that I talked about. A couple of SCVs only, and it looks like he is going to hold.
He is going to get the Ravagers killed off. Remember, Rogue is just on one base here, as is Maru. But one base typically works a lot better for Terran.
To go for these type of drone scouts. And I think in the macro game, he has looked solid so far. Every single time it did go into these longer games, he's looked really, really strong.
Macro games have been just amazing to watch. It's been a lot of fun. As you have Flings just working on these rocks already, something that's important to get down. Just make your movement between your bases that much easier. Don't let the Terran take advantage of that in any way. As obviously a Marine count builds on up. Stim's halfway done. The factory's going to be done soon. We know where this build is going to. Just a matter of waiting for those medevacs to be up for the first action to really break out.
I wonder if Maru actually goes for the 2-base tank follow-up. Because I know back in the day, when there was Death Aura still in the map pool, he would actually do this build fairly frequently with CC first. And the CC first version, very often he would go into a tank push. So maybe another 2-on-1 with a different follow-up from the one that we're going to see. Usually, of course, for now, at first it's going to be the first 2 medevacs. And then we'll see what he will follow it up with. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see an early 3rd command center like we did in all the other games.
Yeah, that'd be actually kind of a cool way to switch it up. And definitely very Maru-esque, right? Doing just different things off the same kind of openers, just keeping it fresh, keeping it different, and finding ways to take advantages. We do start a couple of Hellions, though, so it's going to be the Hellbat version of this attack. There's the armory going down, and this is something that Rogue is probably going to need a Baneling Nest to deal with, and there is a Baneling Nest and the lair.
Yeah, this is very important. Without Banelings ready, this is almost impossible to hold unless you really have been cutting drone production almost to make extra queens, and if you save a lot of energy on those queens. Now, Rogue is not making too many tumors. Yeah, there is such a thing as making too many creep tumors, because transfuses come in super handy against this type of attack. And now Maru is starting to leave his base with the Marines. That's actually very common. With the Reaper version, this would already be a tell that it's the Hellbat version, but with the CC first one, I've seen Maru always do this, even if he goes for a double medevac.
Yep.
So that makes it a little bit harder. You really need to morph the Banelings right away in anticipation of this attack. So I really hope, for Rogue's sake and for our sake, that he's gonna morph a bunch of them.
Yep, let's see, as he's got himself Overlord's build, and he's actually going to be a little bit supply blocked here. Well, that's actually going to be rough no matter what. He does get out of it now. Hellbat's morph. The Banelings have not started. He just started up 10 drones, Lambo. This isn't looking good.
This isn't looking good, but at least Maru was forced to stim once. He's trying to back off with the queens. The 3rd base is completely exposed, though. Rogue is saying, okay, maybe as long as I survive somehow, I can come back into this game. Maru sees that there are no Banelings, trying to stim forward to the queens. Really good by Rogue so far, buying time for his 3rd hatchery. Now trying to buy even more time with the Zerglings, but this is not as many Banelings. Good target fire from Maru, and there's nothing left in front of those queens.
There is absolutely nothing left. The queens are dropping, the drones are pulling. This Widowmine showed up as well, and Maru is your ASUS ROG champion as he takes down Rogue with ease on Lightshade. Moving through is a beautiful attack.